This is Flowers on the Stage.
Life itself, if you just pay attention to it, it is just always constantly teaching you um, a lesson, and if you're open to it and there for it, it's it's just because it's the dynamic, everything changes so much, so often, especially in today's world, nothing's simple. And you can make it simple for you, if you so choose. Which is, and I don't mean that's a bad thing, that's like a good thing, um but yeah, I think life, that's just because there's always something there, there's always something happening for you to learn from, and that's the greatest teacher, probably.
I'd love for you to talk about something that you think is often maybe like overlooked or misunderstood by up and coming artists, trying to make this a profession.
Hmm. One thing for sure is, no matter what the talent level, because there's a lot of talent and at a lot of different levels. I think hard work is the main ingredient to success. And I was at this party last weekend and someone was like, "Oh, like that's so cool. Like you're so talented. Like I don't have talent like that." And I thought to myself, and I didn't say it, but I thought to myself, like, God didn't like do his magic wand on me and all of a sudden I'm talented. Like, not at all. I mean, granted, maybe not really. I love music, you know what I mean? And I work hard at it, and I've for many years now. And that's the reason why, I'm able to do what I do. I mean, obviously there's other things like timing and luck, things like that. That coming up at the right place, being at the right place at the right time, stuff like that. But it's just hard work is really I mean, as you can see now, I mean, just with social media and YouTube and people now, there's a million people producing bass music and producing writing music on a computer because you can just go do it, and it's like almost like a who wants it more kind of a thing, you
Mm.
know what I mean? And I think that's one thing coming up. You just have to be dedicated and know that if you stick with it and you work harder than everybody else, chances are you're going to have success.
I
Yeah.
love that. I feel
Yeah.
like with anything, like, yeah, it starts with hard work and not just hard work for the sake of hard work, but like loving the game,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Then you bring up timing and luck,
Mhm.
coincidence.
Yeah.
I like to think, I don't know, but I like to think that the universe or whatever
Mhm.
will like you will get rewarded with
Yeah.
luck, timing, and coincidence for those first two things, which is, just being smart while working hard
Yeah.
and like being in it for the right reasons. Like I feel like in anything at least where I feel like, wow, I actually kind of did something good there.
Yeah.
It was that, and then somehow, some way, like things falling into place, but never just like I felt like it always had to be earned, even if there is luck somewhere in there.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm with you on that for sure.
And people kind of, like I can imagine an image of Ben Franklin in the air with a key, like hoping for lightning to strike.
Right. 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 Right.
Like you got to be grinding to ultimately get to that place. You can't just kind of have your finger up. You got to really earn it and deserve it like that. I love that answer.
Yeah, it's like the universe sees you working and then like puts you in the right place or whatever, right place at the right time kind of a thing. And it kind of, I mean, it makes sense, you know, in a lot of circumstances, I think.
Like life responds to, your investment into that.
Yeah. It's like you can't write the best song in the world by working and writing. like working on just writing one song that's the best song. You have to like keep writing every day, every day, every day, every day, every day. And then all of a sudden, the best song you've ever wrote or ever, whatever, comes because you've been there in the space every day. You know what I mean?
So everyone out there listening, Dom here is playing Soulshine Reverie, which is the new festival being put on by the team behind Summer Camp Music Festival.
Yep.
Big shout out to the people over there, as well as the J Sloan creative team for putting up this interview, making this happen. It seems like this new Soulshine Festival, they're definitely emphasizing the event beyond the music, and yeah, still bringing a stacked lineup.
Yep.
Anyways, Dom, I'd love for you to just kind of take me through your memories of Scamp and, what kind of sticks out when you reflect on summer camp, and then your thoughts on this new concept.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. Well, summer camp is great festival. A lot of great memories from that festival. And the first time Big G played that festival, I played that festival, I believe with the Motet when I played with the Motet many, many years ago. And then I played it first time with Big G, and we played the campfire stage. And that was at that point, it was like an easy up, like with a blue tarp on top of it. It was not a real like stage per se, but still had a really great set. It was a really defining moment for us, on our like come up and stuff like that. And we played it a bunch throughout the years. We always come through Urbana and stuff and play, which is in that same area. Have known Ian, the mastermind behind the festival for many years, and he helped put us on and when we were coming up and stuff. So um, he's always just had us come along and let us be a part of that festival as it grew. We've had just so many fun sets and just hangs. Summer camp has always been something we've gotten to do every couple few years, and just always great crowd. um Most usually great weather, although it can be a little weird that time of year. um and just a cool vibe, kind of one of the first festivals that was really doing festivals. And so now Ian's doing something a little bit different, and luckily he asked us to be a part of it. And we're just excited to be there again this year and kick off the inaugural festival. And we're just excited to be around that energy again, and do something cool for the festival. And hopefully it continues to build and is, something that happens for a long time.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to be great. Love that lineup they put together.
Yeah. Yep.
From the creators of Summer Camp Music Festival, Soulshine Reverie is coming to Three Sisters Park this Memorial Day weekend. Don't miss Goose, STS9, Moon Hoot, Big Gigantic, and more at Soulshine, a music and arts reverie, on May 24th through 26. Grab your tickets now at soulshinereverie.com.
I'd love next for you to talk to me about like staying fresh and having your music evolve, and what that process is like for you, like keeping things feeling new to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess partially just trying to get better, to take your game to the next level, in a sense, I think is one thing. And just trying to be an artist. I've been home a lot, been getting to write a lot, and yeah, I've been writing every day and really trying to just, how can I do things differently? How can I just be more of an artist and just, be more creative and just like let it, even if it doesn't come right away, just keep at it and just kind of keep um learning and being selective and trying things and without having too much expectation on things, and just seeing where I land, every few weeks or month, kind of checking in on what, but not like thinking too far ahead, but being in the moment with it all. um and then yeah, just and then just trying to just intentionally being like, okay, I I don't want to write the same stuff I've been writing.
I'd love to hear, from your personal perspective, some of your favorite artists, like the things you admire most about their approach, that like, and which artists come to mind.
Hmm. Ooh, tough question. Obviously love the stuff that Fred's been doing. I mean, his stuff is super fresh right now. Obviously, a lot of people, locking into Fred. But that stuff feels super fresh to me right now.
Agreed.
Skrill stuff always super fresh. I love like I love how his stuff is just so minimal, but still hits super hard and is still different and fresh, but still his style. He always finds some cool way to do that. Fred's stuff, I just love the emotion and energy behind it. It's really nice. Um, well, John Coltrane was always just trying to, you know, uh, it almost became like religious to him, and he was like coming from the inside out, creating, a spiritual thing, which is always pretty epic. um, Miles was always also just, trying to push the envelope on something, do something different, take, never trying to do the same thing. Always having a new band, pushing those boundaries. Herbie too, if we're still talking in the jazz realm. Um, yeah, I don't know. There's, it's like it's a mentality of artists, who really search and you know, try to take it to the next level. I mean, Mac was always on that, you know. Um there's a lot, there's a lot, but it's a mentality of just trying to explore new sounds, and put a new landscape around yourself, to put yourself in a new picture frame, with different, I with the different scene behind you.
Mm. You mentioned John Coltrane, this approach where, it's like spiritual approach where what's inside him coming out. Is that something that you try to draw from that kind of approach?
Well, for him, it was like, he was always, when you're talking about improvisation, that's the ultimate, improvising with a band, and everyone's like in the moment. Well, when I was really into improvising and stuff, and I got really into that, I sort of started coming to the conclusion that, I was like really into like meditating and stuff like that because and when you get into meditating, you're thinking about things in the past or the future, you're sitting directly in the moment, and it's almost like you're like a vessel for things to come in and out of, so if you're going to improvise, then you need to be like hearing what is happening in the moment around you, like with the band, and instantaneously having an idea to reflect off of that and then putting it out, but without, and putting that idea out without any like preconceived, like it was that good or bad or anything like that, and then technically you need to have all the tools to be able to whatever you heard, processed. Now I have to be able to play it, and you need to be in tune with your instrument to be able to, like I say, be like a vessel. So for John Coltrane, he was on that level where he could, technically do anything, he'd worked so hard at his craft. And so in his later years, I think it was he took that meditation to you know, when you get on that level, I mean, what else fuels that than like, God or whatever you perceive that to be, so now you're just like praising, now you're just like praising God because you're just like, okay, I'm this like vessel, music, now we're just now it's just like emotions flowing through me, and I'm like this thing, this being or something. So it's deep stuff. And that's like what more his later stuff. And then you start getting into like the galaxy and like space, and and then it's like, you it for a first time listener, especially to some of his later stuff, they would be very, very confused about what was happening. And his first stuff, Giant Steps, or even early his first stuff with Miles Davis, compared to his later stuff. I mean, if you're like, oh, like, snapping, yeah, I like this jazz stuff, compared to his later stuff, you wouldn't, unless you understood what it was all about, you would probably hate it. You know what I mean? Um, so I don't know. I've maybe I lost track of my exact point, but
No, I love that. I love that explanation. And so I want to bring this back to your creative process a little bit. So,
yeah,
like on one hand, there's this openness with improvisation, but on the other hand, you're a producer and
yeah,
you're in the lab experimenting, having visions, trying to, you know, things in your head, creating them in the grid.
Mhm.
How do you kind of coalesce, like bring together that where you're kind of just drawing from this your source of creativity versus like trying to produce an actual physical song in the studio? Like I feel like these are two different approaches, but you obviously, you seem very familiar with both of them. I'm curious like how they kind of come together.
Yeah, I think it's sort of like it goes back and forth, because like I'll have some kind of a tempo and some kind of a beat in my head, and you start to get it going, but then you're like, okay, on the hi-hats, and you just kind of, that's when you're, okay, I'm improvising, I'm just doing what kind of feels good. Okay, okay, I like this. I've locked into it. Okay, and now you get like the drums, and then you get to the piano or the synth or something, and you're like, you know, you're like hearing something, then you're improvising again. So you're going like, right, I'm writing, I'm improvising, I'm writing, I'm improvising, and kind of like back and forth. And then it's like put like a puzzle, you're kind of putting a puzzle together. You're like, okay. And then that in turn with an album, then you're trying to put an album together, and you're like, okay, I have this. So it's a pretty fun process, but yeah, it's definitely you use your improvising sort of skills, and then you go back to your just like more writing kind of stuff. It's a,
Hmm.
a dance. It's a dance, if you will.
What would you say is something that you don't do, that you kind of stay away from doing with your creative process that you think helps you be successful?
I don't do. Try not to stay on anything too long, try to kind of keep it moving. Sometimes, I feel like there's something there and I just need to spend more time on it, like, and really work through it. But most of the time, just not spend too much time on stuff. Like give it a good go, move on, come back to it later,
Hmm.
making decisions, stuff like that.
Next, jump into the side a little bit.
Yeah.
I'd love for you to talk to me about something you believe now about life that you didn't believe when you were younger.
Hmm. Well, now, I have a kid, I have a 5-year-old kid. And they always say, enjoy the moments, and that goes by fast and you'll never get these moments back. And that's definitely something that has held very, very true in my experience. You know, where it's just, every day I think I'm like, wow, like you're never gonna get this day back with your kid. You know what I mean? Like, so being real present and being there as much as you can is important for me, and special to me, because yeah, it's, especially in these younger years, you know, you never really get those back ever. So, um, and in general, I guess that kind of goes, being in the moment, you really, you don't get any of the moments back, even like the come up with Big Gigantic. I mean, you maybe, I guess if you start another project or something and that happens, you kind of get it, but you don't get it when you got it, at the time, and you know, just really gotta, you know, you just really gotta be in the moment with all those things because you really just don't get them back.
You got to soak it in, but easier said than done.
Yeah, much easier said than done. Yeah.
This is Flowers on the Stage, a podcast about being creative and finding success. To support it, please check out our sponsors, New Belgium Brewing, Thrax CBD, and Ticket Relief, the ticketing company that plants trees with a portion of each ticket sold. And now, back to the episode.
You mentioned the come up with big gigantic. You mentioned, fatherhood.
Yeah.
I'd love for you to talk to me about either a specific moment or decision, something from your past that challenged your preconceptions about how things work, or kind of made you rethink your approach. Like, does anything come to mind as a certain point where it's like there was a real shift for you?
At a certain point, I was like, okay, I'm gonna be broke. I'm gonna have this student loan debt. I'm gonna die with this debt. Like, this it's just gonna be the way it is, and I despair in terms of, having any like, success monetarily enough to be able to like, you know, and when I at the very beginning stuff of Big G, I was just kind of coming out of a pretty big debt, school, things like that. And and when I saw a little bit of light there, I mean, and saw that I had an opportunity, and not just like monetarily, but like for something to like happen, you know, um, I was able to really focus and on just being, because I had several jobs I was doing, and I was doing a couple of different jobs and then playing, I was playing a lot of bar gigs and stuff like that. So when I was like, okay, I can now just be at home and work on music like all the time. And I know that that will pay off. Like that will, it might take a little bit of time, but that's going to like pay off for me in the end. And that was a pretty big transitional shift for me. And it's been like that since. And that's been since like 2000, shit, I don't know. It's 8 or something like that. So it's been pretty sweet to just be able to just be in full creative mode since then, especially when a few years before that was like, it was not like that at all.
Amazing. It's crazy how quick things can just come together. What would you say is the personality trait that you most admire in people you work with?
Um, I think it ranges, I think everyone's different, you know. I think I can pull something, some people are just, they're always just really relaxed and calm, or they're always easygoing, or when things get crazy, they're like they find a way to be, just even keeled, or they have like a brilliant spark about the way that they work, or their passion. I think it's fun to look for, everyone's unique, and everyone has their own like superpower, and it's cool to like witness people, doing their own particular superpower.
I love
Yeah.
that answer.
Yeah.
So, like, branching over into leadership and like the personality traits and qualities a great leader could, should, would have.
Mhm.
I'd love for you to talk to me like what you've learned over the course of your career about what makes a great leader.
Yeah, I think just setting a good example, and no one's perfect. I mean, I'm the furthest thing from perfect, but just being a good leader, bouncing back when, you're, just showing that resiliency and stuff like that, and doing your best, showing up, being on time, focusing on the little things, and just doing the best you can, and you know hard work.
What advice can you share for me, for anyone listening to this, about living a life you can look back on and feel proud about?
Well, I think just like making decisions based on, based on that, like making decisions based on like who do I want to look back on and say like I'm proud of this person and I'm proud of this guy or girl or you know, just taking that extra second to like think about stuff like that and be mindful of the choices that you make. And I think you'll end up looking back and being happy about the person that you've been. And again, no one's perfect. I make mistakes all the time, and wish I could be a better version of myself. But I just learn from it and move on. And then every day is a new day, and just keep trying to work at being better and yeah, being the best version of myself for sure.
Hell yeah, Dom. Well, man, so great to talk with you. Absolutely love
Likewise,
your
always.
approach, your mindset. Your man, they don't guys like you don't fall off trees, Dom. Don't change, man.
Thanks. Thank you so much. It really means a lot. It's always good having a convo with you. We always go down a special road that's super fun. Unlike any of the interviews that I do, but always really great chatting with you. So thanks for all the very thoughtful questions. It's really
Mm.
awesome.
Thank you, Dom. Man, an honor to get to do this. So as we're wrapping up here, like, what else can fans be stoked about with Big Gigantic? We talked about Soulshine, but what
Sure.
else? What else should we be excited about?
I'm just really taking this whole year to write. Right. So I'm just really trying to take my thing up like 10 levels this year. So, writing with no rush or anything, I have some really great stuff. The next thing that I want to do is I want it to be long lasting and something that's like really cool. And so I'm just like staying quiet for a little while, getting all my stuff together, and then whenever later this year or next year, whenever we start releasing stuff, I will- I think it's going to be super special. So I'm looking forward to that.
Everyone out there, you listen this far, we got links in the description. Keep up to date with everything Dom and Big Gigantic's got going on, as well as your tickets to Soulshine. Got a link down there. And yeah, Dom, thanks again, and can't wait to hear what you're cooking up, my man.